Capcom's basically, they have nothing in place anymore to prevent a hostile takeover. Meaning,
and the shareholders triggered this.
Yeah, the shareholders triggered this. The shareholders basically vetoed down their last options to do this. They had like a poison pill option, they called it, where they could basically put more shares out there and basically combat the buying, right, and buy it themselves. And they vetoed that, and basically get your shit together. The thing is I think everyone thinks immediately right now that Capcom is doomed or done. Now, I've been saying for a long time Capcom's in bad shape, but this does not mean, just because this has happened, this does not mean that someone is going to step in and buy Capcom immediately.
Sure, there's steps in between here.
Yeah.
That can be countered by the directors at the company.
But I just, I think it does send a pretty strong message to a lot of these there's a lot of the Japanese game development studios, like Konami is another one that's just in rough shape. Like,
now why is it just so much bloat? I guess.
I mean, as far as I can tell, it's tradition. It's stodgy business practices up top. It's like when we talked about Igarashi, leaving. It was because here's the guy that made Castlevania, a cash cow for you on the Game Boy Advance and DS, and you decided to stick in making mobile sims. It's because you wouldn't let Capcom, you wouldn't let Keiji Inafune, continue doing what he does
Cancel
best.
your Mega Man games that people are looking forward to.
You upset Ono enough, the guy who makes Street Fighter, that he steps down from his position today, I think it was today, at Capcom Vancouver. Now, he hasn't left the company, but, he stepped down from his big position of power. Like, you're not making anyone happy, and you're not making games that are making people happy. People are buying them, but I think people have slowly stopped. It's all the DLC. It's the fact that you're not giving people the games that they're expecting when you say that here's a new Castlevania game, but guess what? It's not Castlevania. It's God of War.
We spoke about how all the ridiculous, people got tired of the Marvel vs. Capcom, $4 for 2 outfits or whatever, that bullshit.
Yeah.
Or people get tired of having another version of Street Fighter every freaking year released. I mean, at some point, it's saturation.
Yeah.
It just is. It happened with Street Fighter 2. People got sick of it. Every 6 months, there was a new version of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, in the freaking Dead Rising, they're making fun of it themselves.
Right.
But how ridiculous it is.
And it's cute that they're making fun of themselves, but that self-realization is obviously coming just a little too late. So, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. A lot of people, want, if you look around online, the big chatter is, pardon me, a lot of people want Nintendo to buy Capcom. And when I think of Capcom personally, when I think of the good times I had with Capcom games, they were games that I played on the NES and Super Nintendo. I mean, that's not true of the recent stuff, but I mean, when you think of Mega Man, I mean, you think of an NES. When you think of playing Street Fighter with your friends, most people remember the Super Nintendo version.
Well, you realize the alignment's there, obviously. Hell, you have Mega Man coming up in the new Smash Brothers. So
right.
They have a decent working relationship, at least. But Nintendo obviously has the cash to do it. They have the cash flow. However, Microsoft has more money than them if they really wanted to go after them.
Yeah.
Not from the business side, just Microsoft as a general company has a huge amount of money.
Right.
So they could do it. However, I guess it would depend upon the rules of what they accept as its highest offer. I don't know. This is what they released after the announcement that they're not going to block hostile takeovers to shareholders. This is what the company released. Despite of non-approval of renewal of takeover defense at the 35th Ordinary General Meeting of shareholders, Capcom will continue to focus on further preserving and enhancing corporate value and common interests of its shareholders. If there is any large-scale purchaser of Capcom stock, we will react to make necessary measures within the admissible limits of applicable laws and regulations. In addition, we will react to take steps to ensure disclosure of the position of the board of directors and other information, and that there is sufficient time for shareholders to examine the proposed large-scale purchase and reach a decision. So yes, there are in-betweens here. It's not like all of a sudden they're going to be bought out next week. This is the first step, though.
Yeah.
This is the first step saying, shareholders to the directors of the company, get your shit together or else you're not going to have a job down the line. Basically.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad thing for the industry. I mean, whatever the maybe the specified reasons are for them vetoing it, seeing a company like Capcom that you once thought was infallible, at this point, it's got to have a lot of companies, whether they're on the western side or the eastern side, going, oh, okay, like, what are we doing business practice-wise that they did that backfired for them?
Do you imagine though? Do you imagine if Nintendo did buy Capcom?
Yeah,
What a game changer that would be.
That'd be pretty cool.
Do you imagine if all those the properties became Nintendo exclusives? That would all of a sudden everyone would have to buy a Wii U basically.
Yeah.
You want to play Street Fighter? You got to buy a Wii U.
Yeah.
Do you imagine how weird that would be?
That'd be very strange. That would definitely.
You want to play Dead Rising? Wii U. Monster Hunter? You know, like.
I over the past like couple of years, I've always kind of thought of Capcom as being an Xbox first system. Don't know why. Maybe just because I had an Xbox for longer before PS3, or because third parties in general have shunned Nintendo. But I mean, I could see I mean, I don't know if I could see, but it would almost make sense, I guess, if Microsoft tried to protect some of these properties that they've held so dearly exclusive, or tried to keep, as certain titles that they imply are Xbox oriented. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what comes of it.
Oh, we didn't bring the fact that like a company like Ubisoft or EA could always make a bid too. EA's got the cash,
I don't know that Ubisoft does, but
all right. What if EA went after them then? That'd be interesting.
that'd be gross.
It'd be great. Yeah, it'd be gross. Yeah, it'd be worse than the companies going out of business by themselves. Oh, they bring back Mega Man Soccer though.
Yeah,
FIFA Mega Man.
Yeah.